What's up guys, this is Nico from Limitless, and today I'm bringing you another expanded deck. Today we're taking a look at Gyarados Gallade, or Gallade Gyarados, however you want to call it. And the deck did also it didn't do like insanely well at Costa Mesa, but it was at least decent. It was in top 16 once and in top 32 once. Pretty sure that's it for the placements. And this is going to be the list that Jose Marrero used in Costa Mesa for one major reason. It's not like, for example, a Garb deck, a Zoroark deck, basically any kind of deck where you can get like super techy and you have to like decide on your support account and do I play Giratina, do I play this tag, do I play this, do I play this? Because the main part you're taking a look at when building this deck is consistency, so that you can consistent get out your Archie and Maxi turn 1. And I figured that if Jose took it to a regional, that he definitely tested the deck quite a lot and made sure that the deck is as consistent as possible. And I also played the deck on a recent stream, and I felt like it was very consistent. Of course, there are some cards that are missing that you would like to have in some matchups. For example, the deck doesn't play any stadiums or any like field blower, for example, because these are all cards you potentially can't put down. For example, a stadium, if your opponent goes first, plays the same stadium, puts it down, then the stadium in your hand will always be a card that you can't play down. And field blower is basically the same, especially if you're going first, then your opponent won't have any tools in play. So you basically rely on having your own tool or your own stadium in play to be able to use field blower. And this usually isn't the case. So most of these cards are cards that you either need for the strategy, like really need, or cards that you can just play down, as you will see when we get into the deck. So first of all, let's talk about Gyarados. Gyarados has always had some kinds of effects with your Magikarps. Like we had the Gyarados from Stormfront, this did 30 damage for each Magikarp in your discard for 0 energies. Then we had the Gyarados from Breakthrough, I believe, or Primal Clash. one of them. I'm pretty sure Primal Clash. That Alex Dow used last season to win Regional Birmingham and the special event in Italy, which did damage depending on how much damage counter you have on your Magikarps. So you've always had some interaction with Magikarp, and this Gyarados is no different. It does 50 damage for a DC for each Magikarp in your discard pile. And you might be like, but I have to evolve Gyarados, so my max damage is 150. But no, that's wrong, because we have Artie's Ace in the hole, as we will get to later. And yeah, our Magikarp is going to be this one. It's just the best Magikarp currently to play if you play Gyarados, because it has the ability to not get any damage when it's on your bench. So it's good against any kind of snipe decks. And yeah, basically other Magikarp is just there. Some of them have like attacks to flip a coin and draw a card, maybe for a DC, but you never want to attach a DCE to a Magikarp, so that's definitely the best Magikarp to play. Our secondary attacker, it's not even like a secondary attacker. They're both like equal in relevance. Just depends on what you can set up and what you need for a matchup. It's Gallade, a card that we have seen quite a lot of play of ever since Zoroark. Not even ever since Zoroark was released. Like even before Zoroark, Gardevoir was a thing. Now people just started to play even more Gallades and focus even more on Gallade, because it's just very good against Zoroark and also has a very nice ability that's pretty good in this deck, because often you have some cards you don't want to draw into, so you're able to use Archie or Maxi. And this is very good because you can manipulate your next top deck. So as for our tag and draw Pokemon, we have one Tapu Koko, which is just there. As I said, you want to have cards that you can play down, and you can play down Koko, and it has free treat, so there's no reason to not play it. And also you can flying flip because you play DC. That's also pretty nice. Aspect. Next up we have Oricorio, because of Night March, and Yeah, I mean, both decks are one price attacker, but it's very good to have an edge, and Oricorio will most of the time be able to take two prizes at once, so that's just one way to turn the Night Watch matchup in your favor. Then we have, for like support cards, we have two Tapu Lele to search the support card we need for the turn. Then we have one Shaman, draw up to 6 cards, draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. And last but not least, we have Ongru, another card that you can just put on your bench, and also consistency against, for example, late game ends or Getses or something like this. So yeah, we have Ongru. And yeah, that's the Pokemon lineup. And next, about the supporter cards, we have 2 Archies and 2 Maxis each. Both of them basically have the same effect, just one for fighting and one for water. If you have 0 cards in your hand, or like if this is the only card in your hand basically, then you can play it. Pick up any water or fighting Pokemon from your discard pile, depending on whether you're playing Archie or Maxi. Put it on your bench and draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. So yeah, you just discard your Gyarados and your Magikarp, then you use Archie for Gyarados, and then you have 4 Magikarp in your discard, can deal 200, 230 with Choice Band. And yeah, that's pretty decent. And apart from these 2, we only play a few other supporters because, once again, we want to have cards that we can play down. So we have 1 Lysander because it's just a good card to target down something on your opponent's bench, especially if they have like a bench Zorog and you have Gallade, then you can just take 2 free prizes. Then 1 N. This is one of the cards that I personally didn't like that much in the deck, because I felt like usually you want to basically snowball your game. I mean, you always want to draw prizes. So I very rarely played N at all. But the only times basically where I used it was turn 1, when I didn't get Archie or Maxi out, had access to a supporter card, and didn't want to Sigma my hand away. So I guess that's when you want N. Well, it could also be Cynthia technically, I think, because disrupting your opponent will most likely never be your plan. And last but not least, we have 1 Sycamore, just very good draw support, especially like in the late game, when you have your setup anyways and you don't care about which supporter you play. You can just discard your entire hand, draw 7, and then attack with Gallade for Sensitive Blade plus its extra effect. So yeah, that's pretty decent. And now we get to the most important part of basically any expanded deck, especially this expanded deck, which are the item cards. With some pretty standard stuff, we have 4 Versus Seeker and 4 Ultra Ball. And then we get to like the stuff that you want to have for consistency and to play down and stuff. We have 4 Trainer's Mail. You can always play down Trainer's Mail, even if you can't take any of the cards you see. You can just fail the search, and you can also get cards like Battle Compressor, get cards like Ultra Ball and stuff. So 4 Trainer's Mail, definitely a must. Next up, we have 4 Puzzle of Time. Your deck gets thin very quickly, and thanks to Gallade as well, it's very easy to draw into double Puzzle. And even if you don't, Puzzle is also a card that you can just play down if you want to have access to Archie, because you can just use Puzzle for 1, rearrange your top 3 cards, and that's it. And then you can use your Archie. So next very good card. Then we have Order Pad. Order Pad, yeah, I mean, we have so many items, so if you flip heads, you basically always get, I mean, I'm pretty sure like 99% of the time, I mean probably not 99% of the time, but if you have Order Pad in hand, in your starting hand, and your starting hand is not completely horrible, and you flip heads on Order Pad, you should basically always be able to set up your Maxi, because you can grab Ultra Ball if you have too much stuff you want to discard, you can get Compressor if that's what you're missing, you can basically grab whatever you want. You can grab Special Charge to shuffle in back special enemies that you had to discard, for example. So, and worst case, you play Order Pad, flip tails, and the card is gone, and you can Archie with the rest of your cards. But that's also the case where there's only 3, because, I mean, you're not relying on the card, so it's basically just a filler card in the deck. And yeah, basically just a filler card. Then we have Energy Lotto. Basically the same case as Trainer's Mail. It's a very useful card, especially when you're digging for DCE. And if you're not, it's still a card you can play down. You can use it even if there's a DCE. You just fail your search and just continue your turn. For Compressor, this is like one of the most important cards in the deck. You can discard your Archie or Maxi to be able to use Reverse Seeker. You can discard cards that you don't want to have in your deck, like your Gallades, your Maxi, your Archie, your Magikarps, your Gyarados, everything. Like in the late game, you discard your other support, you discard Choice Band in matchups where you don't need it. It's just such a versatile card, especially in these kinds of decks. So 4 definitely. I mean, I would play like 10 Battle Compressors probably. Okay, probably not, but here you get the point. Battle Compressor is pretty good. And 3 Acrobike. Not playing 4 is justifiable because other than Trainer's Mail, let's say you Acrobike for 2 DCs, then you have to pick up the DCE, and then you can't use your Archie or Maxi anymore. Happens rarely, but there's no reason to play 4 of them, so 3 is perfectly fine. 1 Rotom Dex, also a card that you can play down. Yeah, I mean, it still has its effect, so you have to pay attention that you don't like use Rotom Dex before you use Compressor and discard something that you want, and then all of a sudden you use Compressor after Rotom Dex and the card is not in there anymore. But the other way is that it happens exactly the opposite, that you want to have a card in your deck that's in your prices, like a Magikarp. Maybe you priced all your Maxis for some reason, all your Archies, I don't know. So Rotom Dex is always a very useful card, but also a card where you always have to pay attention on what's in your deck. Ideally, you have like you searched your deck previously, obviously, because you don't want to blindly play Rotom Decks unless it's for Archie and Maxi. But usually, if you can Archie or Maxi, search your deck anyways. So yeah, you always want to keep track of what's in your deck before and after Rotom Decks, so that you exactly know what you have left as resources. Then yeah, we have 1 special charge, get back DCEs, because we only have 4, and sometimes you have to discard them. Sometimes they get hammered and you can't like enhance them out of Flare Granted, and you didn't take a prize. So yeah, it makes sense to play special charge in addition to our 4 DC. Our ace pick is going to be Computer Search. I mean, having Computer Search is like in your starting hand is so broken, because that gets you always the missing piece that you need for Archie or Maxi. It's very unlikely that, like, I mean, I already said it's very likely that you get the turn 1 makes your Archie, like when you have Order Pet Hats. And Global Search is even more insane, because you, first of all, you can search whichever card you want, not only item cards. And second of all, you can also discard the cards you don't want, because technically, let's say you're missing Ultra Ball and Compressor for your to set up your Archie. For like, you have to discard some cards in your hand, grab a Shaman, and then you have to Compressor afterwards. And then you flip heads with Order Pet, and you can only grab 1. And if you grab the Ultra Ball, you only get the discard. And if you grab Compressor, you don't get the discard. And Computer Search can discard first and then get you the card you want. And so you don't have to rely on, like, for example, Computer Search discards 2 useless cards, gets you ideally, for example, Maxi or Battle Compressor. Whereas Order Pet for the same interaction would have to get you Shaman first, like you have to flip heads, get Ultra Ball, then you have to Ultra Ball for Shaman and hope to use Shaman to draw into enough cards that you can play down and the Compressor. So Computer Search is always better in that case, and also way more versatile, of course. And for tools, because tools are always cards we can play down as long as we have enough Pokemon to play to attach them to, 3 Choice Band for more damage and 1 Float Zone for free retreat. Yeah, that's basically, I don't think I have to explain them. And yeah, 4 DC are our energies, because why would we play any less? And yeah, that's going to be it. This time we actually have 3 games, because one of them is like only 1 or 2 minutes long, but I wanted to include it because it's just shows the consistency of the deck, and that's like the main point. You don't really test the deck for matchups. You test the deck to check its consistency and learn the sequencing, how you get your Maxi with whichever card you have in hand. So yeah, I hope you enjoy these 3 games. So we're up against the Rogue, which is pretty common and also pretty decent for us. When we win the coin flip as well, it's pretty nice. So So let's see. Starting hand is very important, and it's looking pretty horrible to be honest. So as it's right now, we would need 2 Ultra Balls to... Whoa, okay. Yeah, that definitely means I have to bench something while also... Oh, that's actually pretty bad. Oh, I guess I will have to end, most likely. Okay, at least that's another basic. That's pretty important. Yeah, so I just bench Oricori and then we end. Would be nice to bench another Magikarp, just to be able to yeah, evolve next turn and then attack. On the other hand, this hand is looking pretty fine. I'm not gonna play Male because actually no, I don't want to play it now. I also don't really want to play Compressor, so I guess I will end up just passing. I don't really want to touch DC either, or do I just attach it to Oricorio to be able to retreat? I mean, Zoroark usually doesn't play in Hand Simmer, so that should be fine. And if we want to Maxi, we have to play down something anyways, and this way I played down DCE this turn and can still attach another DCE next turn to be able to attack after using Maxi or Archie. So that's pretty good. That's gonna be a Getsus, I can guarantee you. I mean, at least if he knows what I'm playing. Because... Okay, he's using British. Because usually Getsus... I mean, you see it. If he would Getsus me right now, I would be left with only a Lele. And this deck doesn't really do a lot with just a Lele in hand. Okay, this card must be... Yeah, he was definitely digging for the DCE there. To have the KO. He even discarded a puzzle just to play Computer Search. Would be very surprised if he decided to give the Compressor. Attach DC. He didn't. He actually... Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, no, we definitely want to go for the Gyarados and then the KO. Yeah, so that means we definitely need all of our Magikarps in this card. Okay, one is prized. Let's check if Pokédex is in there. It's not. Okay. So we definitely need a Choice Band as well, which we fortunately enough already have in hand. And then we can just discard a Gallade as well. So let's Acroback first. Okay, there's the Gyarados. And we get another Compressor as well. Can thin out our deck even more. Yeah, we need one Maxi in deck because I'm gonna Lilify it. Let's just cut an Archie. So we just evolved into Gyarados. Did Choice Band. Did another Choice Band. And then we just Maxi. Okay, we got the DC as well. It's Premonition. What do we need for next turn? I guess DC, we don't need DCE because we might want to draw into it. I'm just gonna put up a puzzle because even if I have to Maxi, actually it makes more sense. Like this. Yep. So this way I can double puzzle even if I have to Maxi as well. Gets me more options. And then we just take the KO. Okay, that's the last Magikarp as well. That's pretty good. Even though, I mean, if he evolves into Zoroark and takes the KO, I'm 100% going to go for Gallade. But it's still nice to have all the Magikarps, because that means next turn I can just go for Archie. So you can put another Gyarados into play with 4 Magikarp in the discard. Then I have Gallade as my active attacker. So if he KOs the Gallade, then the Gyarados afterwards just takes care of Zoroark if I get another Choice Band. Or I can actually set up another Gallade as well. There's also an option. The advantage of Gyarados is that it can also deal with something like Lele. Technically, it should even be possible to draw the last 2 prizes off 2 eggs, because he always doesn't have to, but he will usually bench eggs to be able to get to 150. And by doing that, he has eggs on his bench, and if he can't get back stuff like the Shaman and the Zoroark and stuff, I can just get game that way. But I mean, it's way more likely that I'm gonna use Gallade to just draw 2 prizes, or Gyarados to draw 2 prizes. That's way more likely. That has to be against us for sure. Unless he doesn't play it. That of course also a possibility, but as you see again, there would be 5 cards and I would also only be left with a Magikarp. So it gets pretty good against this deck. But of course it didn't matter that I put Puzzle on top of my deck, because if he gets me, my deck gets shuffled anyways, so it's not like, okay, he shuffles back all my items and I draw a single puzzle. Maybe he gets his prize, that's also a possibility. He decides to go for Colress. So I mean, I would always have gone for N or Getsis, because I have 6 cards in hand and he knows that I use Premonition. So I basically know my next 5 cards, and he didn't decide to like shuffle my deck. But let's see if he has a plan. He could still red card me, but that puts me to 4 cards. Of course, N would have put me to 4 cards as well, but you could Lele for N and you're not guaranteed red card. Okay, he uses Rage Speaking, not even for the KO. Yeah, now I will just go for Lysander and the KO onto Lele, so I will just puzzle. I will puzzle for DCE. Oh, I don't have a DCE here. I could Compressor for a DCE. No, but that doesn't seem too good. I could also just puzzle for a second Choice Band. It's also a possibility. So let's just set up Maxi for this turn. So I will Ultra Ball. Will Ultra Ball Magikarp and the Versus Seeker. Yeah, it floats on in that. So I will just go for another Maxi and then use Compressor to discard Floatzone and DCE. This way I get another Gallade into play, and I also keep my Gyarados and stuff, so I really like that play. And we can also discard Gyarados because we don't want to draw into it. Then we discard, Floatzone and DC. Puzzle for Floatzone and DC. Then we retreat Gyarados, attach to Gallade. Then we Maxi. Yeah, we really don't want Gyarados and Archie in the deck, so we just get rid of them. Don't draw any of these because I can still instruct for 1. So, okay, he just concedes because he realized that he won't be able to win the game anymore because he can't keep up. So I'm pretty sure That's gotta be Night March. I'm like 90. Let's say 95, because you never know what you face on P0, especially in expanded. So let's not get ahead of us. The starting hand is looking very bad, actually. Right now I'm hoping that he like doesn't know from my typing which deck I'm playing. Like, for example, he could think I'm playing some Lucario deck or some Buzzwole deck, so that he uses a lot of what's it called? Discards a lot of Pokemon for his Night March. So I can use Oricorio later to get an advantage, because usually in this matchup, because we're both non-EX attacker, it will come down to whether or not any one of us like whiffs an attack, or whoever like takes the first prize. But thanks to Oricorio, I can like take multiple prizes in a turn if he discards enough. I will have to mail first here, because depending on what I get from Trainer's Mail, I have to discard some other cards with Compressor. It looks very much like I'm gonna end here, because yeah, Compressor for supporter doesn't make sense because I can't discard these cards. I could go for Order Pad, but if I flip Tails I just lose, so going for N definitely makes the most sense here. So let's see what we Compressor here. I mean, both attackers are weak to Night Marches, and both of them need EDC, both of them have the same amount of HP, both his Night March are basically in the same attack, but let's force him to use Joltik, because we can just KO Joltik way easier. Do we just discard Magikarps? I mean, I guess. And then N. There's no need to attach the choice, but I might have to attach a Float Zone. Okay, for the next compressor I will keep more attention to what's in my deck because of Rotom decks. Yeah, we discard Gallade, and then the next two cards will just be Maxi and Archie. Okay, DCs are all in there. Burst Seekers are all in there. Ultra Balls are priced. One Puzzle is priced. One Acrobat? No. One Magikarp is priced as well. But is it worth two Rotom decks here? I don't think so, actually. But I might actually just use it because of Oranguru. I mean, I know I have more Ultra Balls in there than... So the odds of getting Ultra Balls into my deck are high. So now I can have up to 4, so let's Acrobike. Let's... I will just take the Burst Seeker, so I have a supporter for next turn. Yeah, and that's just gonna be a pass. And this is just how the deck sometimes works, because you can just draw into cards that you can't play down, and yeah, after you play something like N, I mean, that's pretty normal what just happened, because usually after you use the supporter, it's very unlikely that you will just get rid of your stuff and still do a lot. I mean, Ultra Ball with this hand would be like ideal, because I already have my Archie and Maxi in the discard, so I can just discard them and then grab whatever I want with Maxi or Archie, because I have both in the discard. That would be very nice. I mean, Burst Seeker is definitely better than just getting a random choice band or something, because now I get at least to play the game for another turn. Okay, town map. Now we will see what he's playing. Yeah, he's not much for sure. Fighting Furbells are priced, 2 Agrobikes, nothing too special priced for him. Discards a Joltik. It could come in handy that he's discarding them now, because if I use Gyarados, he's basically forced to have 8 Night March in the discard. So that's at least 8 Pokemon. He plays double Stretcher. Pretty sure that's not normal in Night March. He might actually be playing Maxi or Maxi himself. No, he's not. So that's gotta be Sycamore, yeah. So we're already at 5. I hope Orikuro is still in the deck after Pokédex, Rotom Dex. Funny thing is, even if he has a Floatstone now, because he has Mew, he has to copy like Joltik. And right now he doesn't even have enough damage, so he needs at least one more Nightmare in this card file to even be able to KO Shaman with his Mew. But having Shaman in play is very bad, actually. That's super bad for me. Best case, at some point I can just Sky Return a Joltik. Worst case, he has the KO this turn, actually. Okay, he grabs the Lysander now. Don't mind too much about that. He's probably gonna discard the Lysander now anyways, yeah. He's definitely digging for the Floatstone. Which makes sense. He wants to take the KO for sure here. Because that would put him in a pretty big lead. Well, thankfully he had to bench a Shaman as well. So that's something I can utilize later on. Okay, Acrobike, please Ultra Ball. Ah, that's a Generous Mail, so you get another shot at getting an Ultra Ball. That's at least something. Ultra Ball? Ultra Ball. Perfect. I mean, I guess we just bench Oricorio. Also Magicup's in the deck, that's good. So Mini has a Psychic attack already, so does that make sense to go for Gyarados here? Oh boy, I'm just gonna get rid of Gyarados and Lysander here. Of course, not gonna grab anything. And then go ahead and use Zone Groove for 1. Could have technically benched the Layla, but like as you see right now, Layla is actually gonna be important for next turn. And I'm just gonna have to pass again. Yeah, I will definitely have to rely on Oricorio putting in some work. I mean, if Oricorio, for example, can like once KO a Mew and a Jolty, and then maybe a Mew and something else, and then I only have to take out Shaman, while he will definitely get 2 prizes on this Shaman. But other than that, he can't ever get 2 prizes in a turn unless I bench even more stuff. Which, like, that's also a reason why I didn't bench Lele next turn, because best case, I don't even have to bench it. I can just discard it or something. Okay, how many Pokemon is he at now? 6 already. He discarded some more, so that's 5, 6. That's 9. Okay. What is he doing? He's actually... This is so bad what he's doing right now. He's at 11 Pokemon. That's even enough for Oricorio to KO a Shaman. And that's never a spot you want to be in. I mean, it's lucky that I don't play Field Blower, but I also don't really have to necessarily take care of the active one. How many Pokemon am I? 6, doesn't matter. It's just gonna put 6 on there. Which I'm perfectly fine with. I don't mind him taking one prize. I will never mind that. Yeah, I will Ultra Ball here and then use Maxi. Once again, not grabbing anything. And maybe we can finally get an attack off. Still no Floatstone though. Let's see. If there's a Floatstone, then I will just Okay, there's definitely a Floodstone. The rest doesn't matter because I will shuffle my deck anyways. So how do we draw a card? So we definitely want to take a KO. So and we want to take the KO of Gyarados. So we touch this one here. I mean, I guess we can attach a choice band. It doesn't really matter where. So I will either have to bench a Magikarp, which I don't really want to do, or I have to discard it, but I also don't want to use double puzzle. But I will have to anyway, so might as well use it now. Get at least back the one puzzle. And then some card that I can play down. I guess I just skip the choice band. I mean, puzzle didn't really matter anyways because I have to discard it. Let's just attach to Gallade. Then we instruct for 1. Then we computer search. Oh, do you see? That's a pretty nice pickup. Since I had to basically, I had to use all my puzzle last turn, so I will never be able to double puzzle. I will try to save Orikuru as long as possible. What is he doing? What is he doing? Why? Am I missing something? He could have definitely taken the knockout. I mean, if he doesn't want to win, I'm fine with that. Doesn't matter, I just want to draw into the compressor and then use it. Instruct. Some might must play Enhanced Summer for some reason, that's why I'm not putting the DC for no reason. Let's get rid of Leder, let's get rid of Archies, and I mean, I don't think I will ever need Choice Band, so let's just get rid of Choice Band as well. I mean, can take out Shaman with these guys anyway, so there's no reason. And then we just renting Anger again. Maybe he has some big plan, but as it's right now, he just loses more Pokemon and Orikuri gets even stronger. I mean, we're at 13 now, so... And now he uses Night March. Why didn't he do that last turn? Doesn't really make any sense. So he's at 30 now, so actually if he doesn't get Fury Belt onto one of these, I can just win next turn. This Gyarados is so annoying because I want to Maxis again this turn. What other support options do I have? Could go for the Lysandre. Let's see. I mean, basically all I have left is like recycle for energy, so that I will always be able to attack. Let me draw into Mail next. So Mail first, then DC, Special Charge, and then these guys. So I might actually have to use Orikuru this turn. I mean, I could, of course, if I Guzma this guy, I have to go for the lights in here. I want to take 2 prizes now. Give me the Shaman. Let me just draw a card. I mean, I know what my next 4 cards are, so there's no point in using mail now. Unless I want special charge. I mean, yeah, I guess this... Yeah, that was definitely the best play, because now he would have to have 2 Fury Bells. Or KO the Oricorio. If he doesn't KO the Oricorio, I just win. Because I only have to draw 2 more prizes, and he has like 14 Pokemon in this card pile, so as long as I can... Yeah, I just win now. All I need is a DC. He didn't even take Fury Belt last time, didn't even pay attention. Because I was like, he's definitely gonna take Fury Belt, because otherwise I can just win in 2 turns. Oh, I mean, I don't even need an energy because of his stadium, so we just Supernatural Dance. The Joystick. And the Mew. And yeah, he just concedes. Okay, that's an interesting type combination. Pretty sure it's a pretty obvious deck, but I'm just missing what it could be. Because I don't really have any deck that comes to mind when I think of like Dragon and Darkness. I mean, Psychic usually is Lele, so that doesn't really count. But Dragon and Darkness, maybe some kind of Hydreigon deck, but why? But why? On Neuvan, but what's the Darkness in there? I mean, I guess we'll find out. Oh, that's a pretty good start, I would say. Through the retreat is always nice. Unfortunately, I'm not going first, so if he hits the turn 1 gets us, then the game is pretty much over. Okay, plays Talon Flame as well. That's very interesting. Laser. Okay, let's see if we can get the donk. I'm pretty sure this hand almost guarantees it. Like, I need 1 more Magikarp in the discard pile. Like, if one of these Acrobike hits a Magikarp, which is the reason why I want Battle Compressor first, I just win. Oh, I guess I can discard it and reshuffle it, so I will take the DC. Acrobike, there's the Magikarp. Yeah, I mean, I have 2 compressors now, Magikarp in the discard. That's game for sure. So we just have to play it properly now. I mean, of course, it's only game if I also get another DCE, so we discard DC and Puzzle here for sure. And then I will grab an Oranguru, because that means I get to draw cards after I put down the Gyarados. So now we mill everything that we don't need. 2 Magikarps, a Gyarados, of course. So that's part 1. And part 2 is gonna be Archies for sure. And let's just get in one Gallade and 1 Maxi just in case we don't get the dong and want to use it later. Then we reshuffle our 1 energy. Then reverse Seeker for Archie. Get the Gyarados into play. And now our journey to DCE starts. Okay, if I didn't have to use Special Shard, I would actually have it now. But, thankfully, there's a card called Shaman EX. And expanded. So we still have Puzzle of Time just in case we have to dig even more. Okay, that's just game. Compressor. It doesn't really matter what else I discard. Just discard DC. Then we puzzle. For the DC, and let's just go with compressor. Doesn't matter what we take. We'll just attach here. Retreat. And GG.